Throughout my years in leadership, I have found that there are 5 principles that consistently separate good leaders from great leaders. We simply call them the Big 5. Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to Stepping Stones to Your Success. This is Garland. If you join me on Leadership Masterclass number 1, you know we focused in on the foundation of building great leaders. Today we're going to be building the next floor on that foundation as we move into Leadership Masterclass number 2. You see, every great leader eventually discovers that leadership is not built on just talent alone. It's built on the choices that we make every single day. Throughout my years in leadership, I have found that there are 5 principles that consistently separate good leaders from great leaders. We simply call them the Big 5. They are solution, action, wisdom, gratitude, and purpose. Folks, these are not just leadership concepts. These are practical principles that can transform the way you lead your team, your family, and ultimately your life. So in this Leadership Masterclass, we're going to explore each of the Big 5, one principle at a time, and discover together how they create a stronger and more effective leader. As always, you tell a person what you're going to do, then you do it, and then you tell them what you just did. So, I told you what we're going to do, now we're going to do it. So let's get this party started. And as you know, probably by now, there's different cornerstones that feed into Stepping Stones to Your Success. One of those is what we call our critical management skills. This is a book I wrote a couple years back, and we'll get into the origin, the reason why for that book. But right now, I want to get into chapter 37, which is don't bring me problems, bring me solutions. Let me tell you a quick story. Typical day in corporate America, I'm getting ready to head into my boss's office with some bad news. Okay, now he's my mentor, still is to this day, and he's also a great friend. So as I went into his office, I said, I know nobody likes surprises, so I got to bring you up to speed on this. Our production line is getting ready to go down. We didn't get the widgets in when we were supposed to get them in, and it's going to cost us tens of thousands of dollars. He stopped me dead in my tracks, looked at me dead in the eyes, and says, Garland, get out of my office. I said, excuse me? He says, yeah, get out of my office. And I want you to come back in 5 minutes. When you come back in, bring me 2 recommended solutions for every problem you're bringing into this office. Can you do that for me, son? I said, yeah, I can do that. So I left his office and I came back in 5 minutes. And I said, sir, this is our problem. This is what caused it. This is going to be the impact. This is recommended solution number A. And over here is recommended solution number B. And he says, which one do you like? I says, well, I like B. He says, how come? He says, because of 1, 2, and 3. He says, okay, run with it. But then he looked at me dead in the eyes again. He says, Garland, don't bring me problems. Bring me solutions. And so in the future, if you come back in this office, you best be bringing me 2 recommended solutions for every problem you bring in here. Can you do that for me? He says, yes, sir, I can. He says, good. Get out of here and make me proud. Now, folks, on that day, because of the lesson that he taught me, I formed a core value that I still carry with me to this day. Don't bring me problems, bring me solutions. And to this day, it still serves me very well in corporate America. And more importantly, it serves me even better outside of corporate America. Now, far be it from me to tell you what to do, but this might be something you want to consider adding to your toolbox. We just explored the first of the Big 5, which is solutions. But identifying solutions isn't enough. Eventually, every great leader reaches a point where they realize knowing what to do is not enough. You actually have to get off the dime and do it. So that brings us to the second of the Big 5, which is taking action. You know, years ago, Grandmaster Buell set us down and shared with us what the difference is between a dream and a goal. And now I want to share that with you. Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to Stepping Stones to Your Success. This is Garland. And tonight we're going to go into critical management skill number 7, which is knowledge is not power, applied knowledge is power. A lot of you have been asking me, what systems do I use to stay on focus and stay on track, and what time management systems I utilize? Now, I'll be the first to say that I have not discovered any magic pill that covers all the bases, but I have discovered some systems that seem to work well for me. So let me tell you a quick story about streams of thought. Years ago, Steve LaValle shared a concept at an educational funding company Y-Factor seminar that Bridget and I attended at the West Coast schools that were ran by Ernie Reyes. Now, he explained how he keeps his notes at this type of learning. What he does is he takes a notepad and put a vertical line down the middle, puts his notes on the left side, and puts his action items that he wants to accomplish when he gets back home on the right side. He went on to explain and calls it streams of thought. He immediately puts down his aha moments on the right side of the paper to incorporate into his action items later when he reviews his notes. I got to tell you, I would take notes like a madman, and I would put them into my laptop when I got home. This turned out to be a real time sink, y'all. And finally it dawned on me, why don't I just take my laptop to the seminars and type the notes as we go, instead of handwriting them and then typing them in later. And boy, did that save a lot of time. Now, of course, I wasn't able to put the vertical line down the middle of the laptop, but I was able to adapt the streams of thought concept. So when an aha moment would come up, I would include that in the notes as an action item without a date assigned. So after the seminar, I'd then go back and cut and paste all of the action items to the bottom of the document and then assign a date accordingly. So from there, it was easy. I would just refer back to the action items to remind me of the things that need to happen. And I wouldn't beat myself up if I missed a date because I know the action items were going to get done. This helps me tremendously as a quick reminder of what needs to be focused on. As Kiyoshi Steve LaValle says, all ideas are good. The best ideas are the ones we take action on and implement. You know, years ago, Grandmaster Buell set us down and shared with us what the difference is between a dream and a goal. And now I want to share that with you. And he said, your dreams and your goals are the same with one exception. Your goals have a deadline and your dreams do not. Therefore, in order to change your dream into a goal, you must assign a date for completion. Now, one last note on this directed to you. Your subconscious mind is a very powerful tool and works 24/7. Furthermore, I have learned that your subconscious mind works best when it has a goal with a deadline to focus on. So quite simply, you identify the what and the when, and your subconscious mind will figure out the how. So that brings us back full circle on critical management skill number 7, which explains the concept around streams of thought. Again, knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power. Y'all are doing great so far. Now, action creates the big mo, which is called momentum. And momentum creates progress. But progress without wisdom can take us down the wrong path sometimes. Now, experience teaches us that just because we do something one way doesn't mean it's still the best way. Which brings us to number 3 on the big 5, which is wisdom. Be that as it may, I've learned to pick the battles I think I can win. And with Miss Johnson, I know I can't win because I have learned I can be happy or I can be right. I choose to be happy. Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to Stepping Stones to Your Success. This is Garland, and tonight we're going to go into critical management skill number 36, which is tradition is important. However, as times change, it should not get in the way of our common sense. I'm the first to say that I value and love tradition. Traditions are the cornerstones of our martial arts organization and our country. We must relook and completely understand the original purpose of those traditions. Then as needed, we should consider enhancing those traditions and or creating new ones in order to leave this world better than we found it. Now, folks, the following quick story here helps me to express this point even deeper. So last Christmas, Bridget was preparing for Christmas dinner. Now, I said, I ain't got nothing to do, so I'll go ahead and help you. And I noticed as she broke out the ham, she cut both ends off the ham before she put it in the oven. And I asked her, I said, why do you do that? Seems like a waste of some good ham there. She says, it's the law. It's tradition. It's the way my mother taught me. I said, okay, sorry, didn't know. And it just so happened that on that evening, Miss Watkins, which is Bridget's mother, came over for Christmas dinner. And as we're sitting around Christmas dinner, I asked Miss Watkins, I says, you know what? I just got to ask. I noticed that Miss Johnson, or Bridget, cut off both ends of the hams before she put it in the oven. She said she learned that from you. And I was curious, why do you cut off both ends of the ham, Miss Watkins? Says, well, it's the law. It's tradition. It's the way my mother taught me. I said, okay, just thought I'd ask. And it just so happened, as tradition in our family, we call all the in-laws after dinner and we just check on them and wish them Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And it's just a kind of a thing we do. So just so happens we was calling Miss Gray that evening. Now, Miss Gray is Miss Watkins' mom, and she's in California, San Diego. And I called her and got her on the phone and says, Miss Gray, how you doing? How you feeling? How's your health? Are you behaving? And it says, Miss Gray, it's so good to hear your voice, but there's one thing that's bothering me a little bit, and I just got to find out the answer to it. So I just got to ask. I noticed that Bridget cuts off both ends of the ham before she puts it in the oven. And I ask her, how come you do that? And she says, it's the law, it's tradition, it's the way my mother taught me. I asked Miss Watkins the same question. She told me the same answer. It's the law, it's tradition, it's the way my mother taught me. So Miss Gray, I got to understand, why do you cut off both ends of the ham? And she paused a little bit and she says, well, I don't know why the other two are doing it, but I had a small oven and I didn't have a choice. I had to cut off both ends of the ham in order to put it in the oven. And I said, okay, that makes good sense to me. Now I understand. And I look at Miss Watkins and I look at Miss Johnson and I says, well, I'm not changing. I'm still cutting off both ends of the ham. So they both said that in unison. And I said, okay, be that as it may, whatever floats your boat, we're going to go ahead and do that. Okay, but to this day, I think it's still a waste of a good part of the ham. That's just me talking. Okay, so that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. My point is this, y'all. Tradition has its place, but we also need to find out what is the original origin of that tradition and see if it still makes sense for us to do it. And in this case, it may not make sense for us to do it, but in order to keep peace in the family, by gosh, I'm going to go ahead and let Bridget cut off both ends of that ham. That brings us back to full circle to critical management skill number 36, which is tradition is important. However, as times change, it should not get in the way of common sense. Be that as it may, I've learned to pick the battles I think I can win. And with Miss Johnson, I know I can't win because I have learned I can be happy or I can be right. I choose to be happy. The strongest leaders never stop learning. They stay curious, they continue to challenge, and they continue to grow. Then something remarkable begins to happen. As wisdom increases, entitlement begins to disappear, and gratitude begins to take its place. And that brings us to number 4 on the big 5, which is gratitude. Grandmaster Buell says it best when he says, nothing is ever created, it's only discovered. This is a simple blend of 2 discovered concepts that work very well in our organization. And now, it's a gift to you. Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to Stepping Stones to Your Success. This is Garland, and we're going to go into critical management skill number 8, which is our gratitude/goals coin. Now, I have learned that if you really want to get a point across, you need to wrap a story around it. So let me tell you a quick story about the blending of 2 concepts. One of my mentors and good friends from years ago talked about how he received a silver dollar encased in plastic from his lawyer friend. He talked about how he kept this coin as a focus anchor to remind him of his financial goals, both personally and for his business. Now, every year, our organization has a tradition of getting the heck out of Dodge, so to speak, where we go up to a mountain resort here in Colorado and we go over our victories for the year and go over our upcoming goals for the next year. As part of that process, I always like to start the team off with something inspirational. This past year, I chose to have the team watch a DVD called The Secret. In The Secret, it makes reference to a gratitude rock. The author explained that one day he reached down and picked up a small river rock and decided to make that into his gratitude rock. He went on to explain, every time he reaches into his pocket and feels this rock, it's a reminder of how much he has been blessed. Now, having watched this DVD beforehand, I knew what was coming up. Prior to our time together, I acquired all the needed silver dollars, all encased in plastic, and I gave them to the team after they got done watching the DVD. I went on to explain. You have before you a gift. It's just a coin. It's not the coin that's important. It's what the coin represents that makes it so unique and so special. The front side of the coin is a reminder of how truly blessed you are. You have your health. You have your freedom. You have your family close to you. And if you know the Lord, you got that in your corner as well. Life is good. Now, the reverse side of your coin represents your dreams, your goals, and your aspirations. It is a gentle yet subtle reminder that there is much work to be done. And are we utilizing our time to be as productive as we can be? The president of Educational Funding Company is John Kokinos, and he asks it best when he says, are we challenging our potential to its fullest? I have learned that tangible reminders are essential for helping us reach our sometimes intangible goals. So I encourage you to carry this coin with you everywhere you go. Every time you reach in your pocket, let it be your focus anchor to bring you back home to what you've been blessed with, all at the same time reminding you to stay the course and stay on task in accomplishing your goals. I gotta tell you that this gratitude/goals coin has been enthusiastically embraced by the team, and many unexpected benefits, both professionally and personally, have come to surface. Grandmaster Buell says it best when he says, nothing is ever created, it's only discovered. This is a simple blend of two discovered concepts that work very well in our organization. And now it's a gift to you. So the question that begs to be asked is, when are you going to acquire your gratitude/goals coin? So that brings us back full circle on critical management skill number 8, which is the gratitude/goals coin, or the blending of two concepts. I've learned that gratitude changes the way we see people. It changes the way we lead, and it changes the way we live. But even gratitude points us to one final question, which is, why am I doing all this? Because leadership isn't simply about accomplishing more. It's about accomplishing what matters most. Now that brings us to the 5th and final principle of the Big Five, which is called purpose. The analogy is, you're standing on the edge of a cliff, and in front of you is a black abyss. You can't see in front of you. And I'm asking you to step off. I'm asking you to take a leap of faith. And I'm waiting for you on the other side, but you're afraid. And you're afraid that if you step off, you're going to hit the rocks below. And I'm here to tell you, I'm not going to let you do that. I'm going to teach you how to fly. So there we have it. Today we've explored the Big Five principles of leadership. Number 1, solutions. Learning to solve the problems instead of just pointing them out. Number 2 is action. Turn knowledge into execution. Number 3 is wisdom. Never stop learning. Challenge assumptions and continue growing. Number 4 is gratitude. Lead with appreciation instead of entitlement. Number 5 is purpose. We can never lose sight of our why. Folks, none of these principles are complicated, but when you consistently apply the Big Five, you're going to discover it's going to make you into a better manager, but also it's going to make you into a better leader, and more importantly, it's going to make you into a better person. So here's my challenge for you. As you go through tomorrow, ask yourself one simple question, which is, which one of these Big Five do I need to improve today? Maybe it's becoming more solution-oriented. Maybe it's taking action instead of waiting. Maybe it's growing in wisdom. Maybe it's expressing gratitude, or maybe it's connecting with your purpose. Pick one, work on it intentionally, and then tomorrow choose another. Because small improvements, consistently applied, produce extraordinary results over time. Another way of saying this is, where attention goes, energy flows, and results are soon to show. Thank you for joining me on this journey through Leadership Masterclass number 2. Now this brings you one step closer to the leader that you are destined to be. Have a great rest of your evening. All the best to your family, and I'll be back to you real soon.